How you doing, everyone? This is Faust Kellhound. This is going to be one of my videos where I just talk. I don't have any script or anything. I'm just talking about random stuff and having fun. So, I started this series so I could talk with a buddy of mine, Tyler, at work. So I could explain Warhammer to him because work is busy and we don't have time to stop and talk for 45 freaking minutes nonstop about Warhammer, especially with how crazy Warhammer gets and everything like that. Because Warhammer 40,000 is a crazy series that has a lot of craziness going on and stuff. Lots of stuff. But, anyways, so this is going to be a little bit different. This is going to be a video talking about why people are going to hate Warhammer when it comes out in the mainstream after Henry Cavill starts working with when he makes the series, movie, whatever he's doing, why people are going to end up hating it. A lot of people will. And one of the main reasons why people are going to hate Warhammer is the same reason why people are going to end up loving Warhammer, is because GW, like literally, if you know what I'm talking about, GW Games Workshop, they're going to make a lot of people hate it and a lot of people like it because they are very, very protective of their IP, and I understand that. And it's like, okay, this is understandable why you're so protective of it. Because they don't want it to be changed up, modified, have some crazy diversity people ruin it and destroy everything in it. No. It's like, dude, Warhammer is so far in the future, and it does not care about anything that's happening now. It doesn't care about you. All it cares about is how much labor you can do for the Imperium. What can you do for the Imperium? And then die. So that's like Warhammer idea. So far in the future, there is only war and the laughter of dark gods. So yes, it is. No one cares about your diversity. So yeah, take a bullet in the head, and then we'll find someone else who can keep doing the work because humanity is a resource that is renewable, and they keep using humans until they find the right one. But as I'm saying, so GW is really going to keep it to itself, keep it to its actual core. Henry Cavill wants to keep it to its core. Amazon has no clue what it's doing. It just likes to burn money with stupid shit and never making anything really like its own, not keeping to things the way that they're supposed to do, and they're just wasting money and ruining things. They find franchises that people like that already have a built-in fan base, so they make things. So they're thinking that the fan base will watch whatever they have, whatever they make, because the fan base is there. But the thing is that they make things to go against that fan base. Like, dude, you get a property that has a fan base, and you will not, and you make something not for that fan base. Can you explain that to me? How is that not going to, like, dude, you have a fan base of 10 million people, and then you make a series from that property that has a fan base of 10 million, not for that 10 million people? Like, where is the logical business sense in this? This makes no sense business-wise. Because that's just losing 10 million customers to gain 2 million customers. Or let's even go lower. You're losing 10 million customers just to gain 1 million. Is like, and at the end of the day, you have less than 1 million customers because a lot of those people will fall out too. So it's like, dude, you had 10 million and then you lose them all to gain less than 1 million. And that's your fan base now, is less than 1 million. Okay. Anyways, let's move on from there. So, Henry Cavill, this guy is a fanboy, really big in the series, likes the series, reads the books, know about the things. Like one of the biggest things that a lot of people really kind of first introduction of it was a Black Star Fortress. He is sitting down talking with for an interview, and he stops there and is like, "That your light fixture. That looks like a Black Star Fortress. It's amazing." People are like, "What's a Black Star Fortress?" And you type it in, and you're just like, "What?" It's just like, "Oh, this is something from some weird sci-fi book." Yeah, it's something small in the actual lore of the series, but it is. Yeah, that light fixture did look like a Blackstone fortress, like hands down. It looked like one. All the depictions and description of it is like, dude, that's it right there. So I'm wondering, the person who made it, did they make it to look like that? Were they a fan also? Okay, but to get back to why people are going to hate it. So the fact is, 40K is one of the worst universes to be in. Hands down. That is the last universe anyone would want to be in. Yes, it's fun to look at, it's fun to have games in there, it's fun to fight the things, to destroy the stuff, to have fun with it, but it is the worst universe to ever go into. If you have any choice of any sci-fi universe you want to go into, I would choose Star Trek, is because hey, they have matter replicators, and they're all about peace and exploration. So I'm down for that. Screw 40K. That is a scary universe I do not want to live in at all. I do not want to be near that universe. Let me take that back. I don't want to live in it, but I love having fun messing with that universe. Just because it's so depressing. It's so bad. There's so much death, destruction, sorrow, and just horrible things consistently happening in that universe. It is just a pile of sadness and destruction all lumped together that people that do have a somewhat sadistic mindset or like a sadistic sadist kind of mindset is they like it. Because, like, seriously, look at the process that they do to make Space Marines, where they grab children from 11 to 15 years old before they start puberty and literally slice them open, add organs in them, force their bodies to grow huge, like, so much faster than they should. And then, like, also look at the Scholar Progenium. It is a school that they get orphan children of officers of the Imperial Guard, the Astra Militarum, and put them in a roughly a forced educational labor camp that forced them to become children soldiers and train, and so they can become the elite soldiers when they grow up. So it's like, oh, hey, your dad was an officer, and now your dad's dead. All right, we're going to grab you and force you to be a child soldier. Seriously, come on, look at that stuff. Yeah, I know I'm talking about the Imperium, but come on, look at the other things that the like Eldars do, and then what the Tau are, where they find groups of dissidents, and they literally well, yeah, they're dissidents. They kill them. They get rid of them. It's like there could be no opposing voices for their side. Or it's like, hey, and instead of killing the females, they just pretty much turn them into breeding stock. So just pretty much they have all these female which just rape freaking slaves right there. Yeah, so it's, come on, all the races do a lot of nasty bad things, okay? So none of this stuff is good. And one of my big fears about that is how they're going to misrepresent certain kind of races, is like the orcs. How they're going to pretty much make them into the Lord of the Ring orcs. Like that. It's like, dude, they should Make the orcs come on. The fact is the orcs are kind of the comedy relief in 40K. Their powers, their craziness, the orc filled stuff like that. The orcs are the comedy relief. And I think they're not going, yeah, they're brutal, they're crazy, but come on. They're like lore, their societies, their things that they have. It's silly, it's funny. They should roll into that. I hope Henry Cavill actually gets it set up, but I can definitely see GW's like, no, it needs to be serious at all times. You can't have any fun. And it's like, dude, that's gonna kill a lot of fun. Like I'm saying, GW is going to be the, if they don't play it right, they're going to be the death of their own series. But remember, GW cares more about model sales than anything else. They don't care about the lore, they don't care about anything else. Their model sales are literally their 95% of their profit that they care about. So we're having to think purely business mind. If a company is making 95% of their money off of something, that's what they're going to care the most about. But that's mostly what I think is what's going to make a lot of people hate it. Just how the universe is so dark and crazy and horrible. The second thing, there's going to be a lot of people that know nothing about it, and a lot of these people are somewhat influential or have a larger fan base, and they're going to be talking smack about it. How a lot of people did with Dune, until a lot of people started actually reading and trying to understand Dune, is because, hell, a lot of people, when the first Dune movie came out, well, not the first, because remember, there's been like 4 Dune movies and TV series already. Okay, so all we're talking about is the Denis Neuville movies that he made. So we're talking about that one. His first one, the first Dune that he made that came out. A lot of people are saying, "Oh, they stole so much stuff from Star Wars. How do people like it? They took so much." Dude, the first Dune book was literally made in about, I want to say, over 15 years before the first Star Wars movie was made. Frank Herbert made the first Dune movie, or I mean the first Dune book, 15 years before Star Wars even came out. And in the first 6 years after that first book came out, is that it finally got enough popularity where he had enough of a basis that where he wrote the next book, Dune Messiah, the second book. A lot of people did not like that book because of how it went out. The first Dune book, it was kind of the hero story, but Frank Herbert also, and the way the book is written too, is that how these people are. It is a book of three leaders, 3 charismatic people that know how to manipulate and coerce their people. Paul knows how to did that with the religion, did that with the faith that the Bene Gesserit set up. The Baron Harkonnen knew is like money, flesh, and other things would manipulate people. And then with the Emperor Kirill, or however you say that name, his house name, is that the Emperor was knew his power and threat of the Sardaukar would coerce people and manipulate people. So it was a story about 3 charismatic leaders and how they're doing their different ways and them clashing. Frank Herbert himself said after that first book that he wrote, the first Dune book, is charismatic leaders should have tattooed on their forehead, could be dangerous to your health. Because it is also a book, a warning about charismatic leaders and what they can end up doing and the bad that they can bring to. Yes, they try to bring good to certain and bad to others, as all leaders and all groups do. But now back to the point what I was saying. So what is how people are going to be complaining about it? And a lot of people are definitely going to be bringing up is like, oh, it's just, oh, they stole all this stuff from Blizzard's StarCraft. Well, here's a little bit of history. Blizzard, before they made StarCraft, was they actually had a deal with Games Workshop. Yes, Game Workshop has been around a long time, dude. Yes, even before Blizzard started making StarCraft. So they had a deal with them to make a Warhammer game. And it was going to be Ultramarines versus the Eldar or Eldar and the Necrons. I mean, not the Necrons, the Eldar and the Tyranids. They were going to fight that. The deal in it, and they started making the game. They almost finished the game, and then the deal fell through. So Blizzard is like, crap, we have a game that's about 80% done. It has the Ultramarines, it has the Eldar, and then it has the Tyranids. So Blizzard realized that it's like, okay, if we're not going to do that, we have to use these assets and make something else. So they switched some things around, switched some voices, changed a little bit of the animation, spent like a year. Their game is 80% done. They spent a year changing things around and they finished it off. So instead of you having the Space Marines, you have the Terrans. Instead of having the Eldar, you have, I don't even know the aliens race. And instead of you having the Tyranids, you have now the Zerg. If you look at all the different species and things that they have, they are literal, like all the different classes and all the different units you can choose from. They are darn near a one-for-one thing for different things from Warhammer. It's like the Zergling. That is just it's a Tyranid Terragant. And then you see the Hydra. That is a I don't even know, a stalker from the Tyranids. Like things like that. It's a one-for-one thing because that's what the game was originally. And Blizzard does not even lie about that. There has been multiple different reports and gaming journalists, things like that they have. That Blizzard said, yeah, we were making a Warhammer game, it fell through, so we took the assets that we already had built, and then we decided, why not just make a game, change it up a bit, so that now, now we have a royalty-free Space Marine, and we have we have copyrighted proof Tyranids, they're the Zerg and stuff like that. Because at that time, Warhammer was 90% in just the UK because that's where it's based out of. So a lot of people wouldn't even know or understand what Warhammer was. That's how they were able to get away with it. And because it was just two different countries, there was just a separation of it, there was a really a case that they would not be able to file was brand confusion, just because the stuff was in the UK and this was mostly in the US. So there was no chance of brand confusion happening. And then now with how far Blizzard has developed StarCraft and just how separate they are compared to Warhammer, and then Warhammer has been its game series for a while. And it has spread throughout and over here to the US, is that there's really no brand confusion. And GW has themselves some good lawyers, so if anyone wants to try to tangle, we're talking about, dude, they have some of the best lawyers in the UK. And that is how they're able to really stop a lot of stuff. Yeah, they are very protective of their IP because they let it out on a few certain things and then and they were not careful with it. they're just kind of like free nilly with it, and then they ended up getting bit by that instead of actually taking care and making sure it's proper, like prim, proper, right. Is they ended up just tossing out there, and then it gives the series and their IP a black eye. So since then, GW ensures that there is no way that any other properties now or anything like that will give any of their IP a black eye at all. So they make sure everything represents properly. They would rather get hate for their property, or they rather have to get hate for their property being right than changing up their property and getting love. Because remember, it's all about the freaking model sales. And they have realized a lot of the people who will complain about it aren't the people who are buying the models. So they're like, yeah, we don't care. You guys don't buy. You guys don't support us. So why do we care about what you guys are saying? To a lot of people. To a lot of people. Just hearing that's amazing because so many companies just don't understand that. But remember, GW really prides himself and says that, hey, we are a model company. We're not a gaming company. We just make a game just so we can sell our models. And yeah, that's how they literally make all their shit. So that's one thing that can be very dangerous for them working with this TV series and Henry Cavill, since he's well known. People like him. He has a lot of fan base. And then with him doing this, with his name attached, Amazon attached to that, it is going to become mainstream. So there's going to be a lot more things going on. And any of you freaking 40K nerds that are just normal blokes, like normal people, and not you filthy fucking worthless space wolf nerds, is, dude, you're going to definitely get some clout for liking 40K and knowing about it. Except you space wolves, you worthless pieces of shit, are going to ruin stuff for everyone. So stop playing the fucking game and leave everyone alone, because you are a stain and a cancer on the series. Worthless space wolves. Yes, I do have hatred for space wolves, and there is a good reason for it. And once it becomes mainstream, many people are going to share the exact same sentiment that I have, because space wolves suck. Okay, now continuing. I've been doing research about the 40K and what Henry Cavill, well, the 40K, I already know about 40K. I know about it, I understand it, I've been following it. Yes, there's a lot of stuff in 40K to learn and to gather. But, like, literally, there is not enough time for one person to know everything about 40K. You can know bits and pieces, understand stuff, do broad kind of like understandings about it, but to know it fully that's darn near impossible. So, like, even the biggest freaking 40K creators will even tell you is there's so much stuff. Yeah, you can learn a lot. You can learn like a lot of the overviews, kind of like what I know. But then when you actually go in depth into certain things, that's when it becomes like, hey, you're going to have to kind of start mastering like the Eldars. So the Dark Eldar, the Harley Quinn, the Eldari, the Craft Worlds, the Garden Worlds, things like that. And then just with them is you learn the lore about the Necron. So it's like, hey, you really get into that, and you can know bits and pieces and like the really fine detail stuff. Compared to someone like me who's more of an Imperial player, that, yeah, I do like my guards, I do like my Space Marines, except Space Wolves. They are a cancer to the series, and they are the people who have driven out more people out of the series than out of the fan base and out of stores and out of groups than than any other group. There is, combined with all the other groups. The Space Wolves fans are nothing but a cancer to the series. And the writers, they just make everything worse with it. Because there is no oversight for them, because GW knows they're going to end up helping them sell models. So there's almost no oversight for them. But it is a cancer to the series that needs to be removed. And remember, there is an exception to everything. There is the rule, and then there's the exception. And remember, you cannot change the rule just because there's an exception. Exception once in a blue moon every 300 years. Oh yeah, we have to change the rule. No, keep the rule there. And when the exception comes, okay, let the exception happen, but still purge the freaking cancer out of the game, out of the lore, out of the fan base. We need to get rid of them. And I really hope that they do that sooner than later, because one of the biggest issues is that when it becomes mainstream, a lot of kids and other people are going to end up liking it, and these people are going to ruin it for them, and it's going to really push people out. And it's going to make a lot of people end up hating it, and then there's going to be a group of people hating it just because GW cares more about sales and rather have a cancer grow rapidly just so they can make money instead of ensuring the future. And like most companies, they can only see 3 months into the future, and they do not care about what is happening. Because so many people have forgotten that societies only grow great when great people, or just people in general, will plant trees knowing that they will never sit in their shade. If you do not know what that means, I will explain that to you. Planting trees. So it is pretty much you're planting ideas, you're getting buildings done, you're setting up stuff for the future. And by not sitting in their shade, you're setting up stuff in the future that you know you will never benefit from, because you can live your whole life setting all this stuff up and you know you will die receiving zero benefit, probably even negative. You will lose stuff for planting these trees, planting this stuff, trying to make society great. You will lose stuff. And then when you die, you have never benefited from any of the stuff you've done. You've lost from it. But then your children and your grandchildren will benefit from that. Because too many people want to benefit now and not benefit the future. Because the future is what we need to pay attention to. Is look at the schools. They keep taking money from schools, stealing money from schools. Have these people forgotten that children are our future? Children are what are going to make us great. They are going to one day grow up. Because think about it, is if your life is set up in 20-year sets. So yeah, for one fourth of your life, you are a child. But guess what? For the next 3/4 of your life, you are an adult. You're going to spend more time as an adult than a child. And people keep forgetting that those children that you're screwing over are going to be the adults who will run the future and who will be taking care of you as you're old. But a lot of the people that are currently in power right now, they've set everything up where they have the benefit, and then they don't care about the future, because as long as they get to die old, they don't care what happens to you. And that is one issue that a lot of people have with the boomer generation. They keep screwing stuff up and they do not care for the future, and they are getting no consequences for their actions or what they have done. And they rather poison the well to destroy the future just so that they can have their portion. Poisoning the well literally means is that they take their water. Think about it like that. They take their cup of water and then they put poison in the rest of the water. So everyone else that comes from this well will die, and they're fine just because they have their water. And regardless of like, hey, you're going to run out of that water soon, they don't care because they don't think that far in the future. Now I've gone on a rant that I have no clue where I began from, because I went down one rabbit hole, and next thing I know, I'm in Wonderland, and I have no clue what's going on right now. I'm not even drinking right now. Well, I'm not drinking alcohol. I'm drinking tea right now, so just because it's kind of a little habit of mine. So the tea that I'm currently drinking, it is actually from Bigelow. Yeah, Bigelow. Blackberry and citrus plus zinc. So it's a nice little berry tea that I actually do like. So yeah, Bigelow, they actually have their hands in lots of things. Very surprisingly. Like they have their things in cosmetics. Excuse me. Bigelow has their things in cosmetics, toiletries, clothing, and stuff like that. Like one of my favorite shaving sets I ever received. It was actually a Bigelow product. Exact same name from the exact same brand. When I typed it in, it went straight to teas, but Bigelow does have their hands in many things. And it's actually one of my most favorite shaving kits. It had like a really nice, smooth, good smelling cream that had like menthol and then like a nice like sweet smell in it too, that like after you shaved it really gave it was really perfumey, so it smelled really good on you and you smelled good, and it was one of those like nice it wasn't kind of just like, oh, I'm trying to like, oh, look good, like have a nice hot smell. It's one of those like uh what's that word? So give me a second. It's like a formal smell. It was like a nice smell of mint that had like a like cool mint that's somewhat that did not smell like toothpaste, smelled more like actual like the plant mint, like a perfume that would be minty. It was like uh it was like professional, and it was good smelling. It really reminded me like years ago was I actually had a perfume. It was a French perfume. Yes, I'm not calling it cologne, I'm calling it perfume just because I don't give a shit. So it was a French perfume. It was an orange perfume. It wasn't super sweet where it smelled like orange candy and stuff. No. It literally smelled like kind of like orange marmalade. If you've ever had orange marmalade, it is really citrusy, orangey, and then with somewhat of that bitter smell of like the orange peel, and it's a good smell. So it's like orange marmalade without the sugar, and that's how it smelled. It was a great smell. I wore that for years. I bought multiple bottles and I ran out. I would give my like, even if you really caked it on yourself, people would be like, "Dude, did you spill orange juice on yourself?" It's like, why? Like, you smell like oranges. It's a good smell, but it's kind of strong. Like that's when you overdid it. People thought you spilled orange juice on yourself because you smelt good. You smelled like oranges, really strong. And even when it was strong smell, it was not overpowering. It was a strong orange smell. And I always like wearing that because I would spray it on and people just like, you smell like oranges. Like, is that good? Like, or you turn to him and say, is that bad? It's like, no, I like it. You actually smell really good. You smell like oranges. And it's like everyone liked it. Guys, women, old men, dogs, your next door neighbor that's always creeping on your mom. Yeah, they all loved it. But the sad thing about that was eventually I ran out. And I had a feeling when I first bought it because I bought multiple bottles. I said in my head, I'm going to need to buy 10 times more than this because by the time I want to get some more, the company's going to be out of business. And guess what? Exactly as I thought, is it went out of business. Because one weird thing, no joke, is I swear I have a slight power of precognition where I'm able to tell the future, but it is always to the bad stuff. It is like, dude, I tell my friends and stuff, it's like, dude, this is what's going to happen. And it's always bad shit. And they're like, dude, why are you always so pessimistic about certain things? It's like, dude, because I'm right. I know I'm right, and it will happen. Is that the bad shit that I predict happens will happen. And it's like, I don't want to be right because it's bad shit, and I'm always right about bad shit. And that's exactly what happened. Was that with that company, by the time I saw that was going to happen, like I was going to run out and need some more, the company was going to be out of business. Exactly what happened. And that just isn't one thing. I'm talking about my whole life. I have been right about shit like this. And with Warhammer, there's going to be a big push against it just because of how dark, cruel, evil, and bad it is. And just depressing. People are not going to like it. They're really going to push against it. So there's going to be a lot of hate, and then you're going to have all these SJWs who are going to go against it just because it's the new hot thing that they can fuck over for people because they don't care about making the world a better place. They just want to get one over on someone, and that's what they're going to do is with that. So there's going to be a lot of issues and problems that will be coming up with Warhammer. Just because it's like, dude, it's not going to be fun. People aren't going to listen to me. People are going to ignore this. And then when it happens, people are going to act shocked and surprised. And they're not going to mention anything about what I've said or any predictions anyone brings up about it just because people, they want to act like they're the first one that noticed something went bad. But it's like, dude, no. The writing's been on the walls. And then you're now screaming about like, oh, why is this happening? And it's like, dude, it's literally on the wall saying that this is going to happen if you do this. Like, don't put metal things in electric sockets. You're going to get shocked. Put something in electric socket. Oh, I got shocked. Oh, I have to tell everyone about it. Why did no one ever tell me? Yeah, freaking idiots. Ugh. We need to seriously spend more money on our education system. Because look at the generation we have. We have literally a generation of idiots. And idiocracy is literally happening right in front of us. Yeah, the movie talked about like 100 years later. Nah, dude. This is happening within like 20 years, dude. Idiocracy is happening. But anyways, everyone. I'm going in the video now. I don't know where to go with this video. But I am currently trying to work on a podcast, trying to get Tyler onto a podcast so we can actually talk about stuff and bounce things off of each other. And I'm really good with bouncing things off of people. Like, when we start talking about stuff, I'm really good with bouncing off things, coming up with stuff, bringing up stuff. So it will definitely be pretty fun. And you guys can actually check out Tyler. Yeah. Alrighty then. Like, subscribe, share, and remember, most importantly of all, always love the Kellhound. You all take care now.